Hey guys, Desolator Magic here with probably the most serious video on my channel. I mean, I'll just lead off by saying I ain't exactly rattled by it. I'm used to this. I'm trained with this. I've been in worse situations. But yeah, you might have heard about the mass shooting that happened in Green Bay, Wisconsin at Oneida Casino. I was at the casino when it happened. We all got evacuated and, you know, it is what it is. Just proves that it happens. Can happen anywhere to anyone. They aren't releasing this information, but, I mean, the media is just waiting to twist it into whatever narrative they have. Don't even listen to them. It was a pissed off ex-employee that came in and they were targeting one specific person. That was the reason they got fired, is what I'm hearing. And they basically shot any other employee that got in their way. Eventually they made their way outside, almost escaped, and then got shot in the back while fleeing into the woods. From what I can gather, and this is from news reports, so the least reliable source you could possibly get information from, that whoever the shooter was, I assume it was a he. It always is. Us guys kind of got that on lockdown. He was alive and taken to the hospital with several bullet wounds and then died overnight, I guess, because we had conflicting reports last night versus this morning, so I just kind of put two and two together and figured that's what happened. But, I mean, it was pretty wild. I stayed calm because I'm just trained not to panic. I used to work occasional, like, security at a sketchy place, and I've had to pull a gun on two people while driving. I've had to pull a gun on two people at my old shop. Had to pull a gun on somebody trying to rob me while playing Pokemon Go at night. So the whole, okay, we're evacuating, stand outside, oh look, gunshots, get behind something, and then, oh, he's down, and then we stand around and do nothing. I mean, I'm not exactly going to have PTSD over it, but for the most part, people were, they were pretty calm. Couple people were freaking out, you know, crying and screaming and stuff, but it wasn't like mass panic. Although in the section where the person walked in and started shooting and there were like patrons and staff right there, oh yeah, there was some trampling injuries I heard, and they were panicking because the person's actively shooting and you can see them and they're feet away from you. So I feel like I'd be a little more mentally messed up for a little bit if that was me. But I was in the casino section. I guess the person came in through one of the bars that was part of the hotel, because it's a Radisson hotel attached to a casino. So what was I doing at a casino in Green Bay randomly? Well, there was a gun show in Green Bay, and if you know me, know my channel, that pretty much just explains all of it. But also, I mentioned in some live streams that I like to rip off multiple casinos. Now, don't trip. I'm not breaking the law. I'm not counting cards. I'm not cheating at the games. It's just, if they're going to give me a $50 promo, I'm going to walk in with a 20. I'm going to play with mostly their money. If I run out, I leave. And if I don't, I usually get a free food voucher and walk out with $30 and a burger. And I've been doing that for like 12 years, and I guess none of them have caught on. So I don't normally go to this one, really. It's kind of far away. Their promos suck, but ever since I won like $30 there like 4 years ago, they've been emailing me like, we want our $30 back. Here, have some free food, have a promo. Oh, look, we're doing a thing for Flag Day or whatever. And so I just happened to see like the gun show announcement and then like the Oneida Casino email like right next to each other. I'm like, oh, I could just go up. They want to give me a free $10 food voucher. I'm like, okay, cool. And then the gun show was right across from Lambeau Field. I wanted to see all the new stuff they built around there. I heard they did like a whole thing with like a slide or something and like this whole giant gas station. I don't know. So I planned to hit up the casino around noon, just get some lunch, whatever. You know, they got mad burgers there. I do remember that. They're like dirt cheap too. Like you could actually have like two people burn up the $10 food credit. No joke. And like have something left over. But they also had like a free play credit, a fairly aggressive one for them. That's why I don't usually go there. It's really far away from where I live. And they're, like I said, promos aren't very good. But I went to like the cheapo slots, you know, and I played a little bit of poker or whatever, just trying to see what I could recover from the from the free credit and just walk out with, you know. And I actually intended to sell one of my favorite guns in at the gun show, which, you know, because I owe the IRS a metric buttload of money from last year's taxes. It's over $5,000. Welcome to YouTube. So, yeah, I could use a little extra, you know, just to pay that in like 2 weeks. But on the dirt cheap slot, the Dia de los Muertos one, love that one, I ended up hitting a $700 jackpot. So I was like, damn, okay, you know, maybe I'll play with two and walk out with five, you know, bare minimum, or win more. Turns out I won more. I ended up winning $1,700 actually. I got dealt a 4 of a kind on the poker machine. Dealt, guys. So I hit the tables a bit, you know, won and lost, whatever, just kind of dicked around. I'm like, well, now I guess I don't have to sell the gun, you know. So I never actually made it to the gun show because around 4 o'clock, gun show closed at 5. I was going to go there and buy some ammo, which is like the opposite of going there to sell a gun. Because I had sold some off just to make ends meet, buy groceries, pay my bills and shit, like earlier, you know, at the end of last year when ammo was still real high and hard to get. So that's how I ended up there. I was actually right on my way out around like 7:30. I was getting the food. My order was the very next one up, and the security came through. They're like, we're evacuating. I'm like, okay, there's probably, you know, some idiot was smoking under the smoke alarm. I've had that happen at hotels before. I'm like, if we're going to go stand outside, can I at least get my food first? But then I kind of read like the emotions on two of the security guards' faces, and I'm like, no, there's something going down. This is real. So they're announcing everybody cash out and evacuate, which that is smart, by the way. I'm glad they said that, because boy, would that be a treat trying to prove what machine you were at or whatever if you left money in it. But people left like chips on the roulette table, like, because, you know, they were the $1 chips that you trade in for. There's a stack of a ton of them. They just had to leave them there. So that'll be fun. Lots of paperwork. At least they got cameras. So anyway, I was like, no, we got to get out. We got to get out. I don't know what this is. So I even asked the guard, because I'm like, I think they seem to know what's going on. And I asked them, so which way are we going? You know, and he's like, oh, that way, go east, definitely go east. I'm like, so I can't go out this way? He's like, no. And I'm like, okay, shit's going down. And I was kind of mad because my car was right outside that door by the parking ramp, and he was sending me to the opposite side. It would take quite a while to walk through the entire casino to get to the other side. And my car had, you know, obviously a couple thousand rounds of ammo and several of my guns because, you know, gun show. I should have ignored it and just went the other way. They probably wouldn't have stopped me. I would have been like, oh, this is shorter. My car's right out there. Because at some point, the person came in through the first floor of the parking garage. And I was on the second floor, but there's a chance that while they were running, I would have been able to take them out. And I had my favorite gun, my Kel-Tec Sub 2009mm, which is the one I was unfortunately selling. Not anymore, though. And I had 4 33 round mags for it because, well, let's just say I nicknamed it the Antifa Buster. And this is like a 28-inch rifle, but it folds up to like half that. And so I fit it in like a little compact suitcase that I keep right on my seat. Just looks like I got, you know, some little thing sitting there. Doesn't even look like a gun. Love it. Perfect gun. Biden's trying to take it away because it's short. It's a shortened rifle. Kiss my ass, Biden. So, I mean, I've had tons and tons and tons of hours of gun training. I'd actually recommend people what my gun training class person introduced me to, which is the Active Self-Protection, ASP channel on YouTube. I watch it like every day. They break down, you know, crime, shootings, attacks, assaults, all that. And they're like, this is what they could have done, should have done. They should have done distance or leveraging arm here, or they pulled their gun here, but then they had a malfunction, and, you know, they just break down everything in slow motion, say, you know, here's what they did right, here's what they did wrong. And I've watched like literally hundreds of their videos. So, you know, they say, you know, look at this person, they aren't responding correctly because, you know, this and normalcy bias and all this other stuff that I'll get into. And he's like, well, don't do that, you got to break out of it, and if you hear gunshots, get to cover. And just like, so I just feel like I was like mentally prepared because I took owning a gun seriously. I took the proper classes, got the training, I go to the range all the time. One-handed, I could hit a still target 50 yards. I mean, with a pistol with iron sights. And I know a lot of people that are better marksmen than me. So it's like, just like I always hear from people in this situation, I wish I was in the right place at the right time because I would have stopped it. I would have just gotten to cover, returned fire, and ended this. I mean, look at the mass shooting, if you even want to call it that, at that church in Texas that happened like last year. 6 people in the church pulled a gun on him and ended the shooting within 4 seconds. That guy was going to kill people with a sawed-off shotgun until he ran out of ammo. I mean, like that, you can't wait 4 minutes for the police to show up. That is unacceptable. And putting some bullshit little sign on the door that says no guns allowed while they're a murdering criminal, usually with mass shootings, a mentally unstable or drug, you know, addicted person, a sign isn't going to stop them. So I am pissed that that casino is a gun-free zone. If any of the employees or any of the patrons would have been armed, this would have been over before it started and there wouldn't be 3 people dead. And you know that if the Democrats and all the CNN and all their little puppets get hold of this story, they're going to say, oh, time to take the guns away, time to make more restrictive gun laws. Criminals don't care about laws. They break them. That, if you look it up in the dictionary, that's actually the definition of the word criminal. I don't know if you knew that or not. Why are gun laws made by idiots who know nothing about guns? They know nothing about how bullets work, how magazines, they've never touched a gun in their life, and they feel qualified to just say, I don't know, they're scary, they scare me, and they're dangerous, and they're painted black, so take them away. That'll make everybody safer, even though there's literally nothing but evidence to the contrary. So, at any shooting, it could have been stopped by an armed person, and you'd never hear about the ones that do. Last year, did you hear about that Uber driver who stopped a mass shooter? He started shooting, didn't hit anybody, he just kind of missed, and then the Uber driver took him out with a pistol, jumped out of his car, took him straight out. No, you didn't hear about it because that doesn't fit the media narrative. The whole disarm everybody, we don't want the people to have power. That's what it's really about. But anyway, political rant about guns over. Take your gun sign and shove it up your ass. In most cases, I honestly just walk past it. You won't catch me in a high security area or like a place where it's a felony, like a post office or a courthouse. But if the grocery store has a no gun sign, kiss my ass, okay? I care more about my own personal security, my safety, and keeping myself alive than your ignorant, uninformed gun phobia. I don't know where you live, and you do you make your own decision. I'm not going to encourage anybody to break the law, but at least where I'm at, If they have a no gun sign, you walk in with a gun, the most they can get you with is trespassing. I mean, I hate to say it, but welcome to reality. I'm 33, I don't have a criminal history at all, and I'm white, so I'm pretty sure if it went to court, I wouldn't exactly see jail time for trespassing with a weapon, especially since it's a misdemeanor. But anyway, back to the actual story, what happened. I bet you want to hear about that, but you needed to hear about that last little rant I just went on. Trust me, more people need to hear the truth. People are dying because ignorant, dumb fuck Democrats are getting them killed. Okay, that is the truth. They're taking away our rights to protect ourselves, and people are getting killed because criminals don't give a shit, and laws don't apply to criminals because they're not going to follow them. It's that simple. Call up your congressman and tell him, no, you're not taking away my self-defense items. And don't be a careless dumbass and don't buy a gun without getting trained. So anyway, yeah, a bunch of people were evacuating to the closest exit, which was where the danger was. And so everybody I passed, it had to have been 20, 30 people. I'm like, no, go this way, go this way. We have to go this way. They said, go east, do not go that way. Honestly, the gunman was, I heard, minutes, like even as close as 2 minutes behind me. Like where I was, he came right to that area from what I'm hearing. So if, 50, 100 people, because I'm sure they all kind of told people and then people just follow the crowd. If like 50, 100, 500 people would have started going to the closest exit instead and the security guards weren't able to stop all of them, they would have ran right into the dude. So, I mean, I wasn't, getting loud barking orders. Like, I don't work there. I'm just a couple people that I was walking past. I'm like, go this way. I'm not trying to create chaos or make people panic or anything. Because like I said, that's what all the training I've seen says is, what to do, what not to do. I know what to do. And you just kind of go there. You just kind of switch off the emotions and you're like, look around, be aware. This is what I have to do. Cold, collected, let's go, I actually wrote an email to the owners of the ASP channel and told them what happened. I said, thanks for all the training. Thanks for, making people safer. I feel like they're my primary source of training these days. And they're the reason I didn't freak out, panic, or do something stupid that got myself in trouble. So, go check them out. Just saying. So we all got outside and we heard one single gunshot. We were like basically in the flat parking lot, but it was right next to the parking garage, which is where the perp ran through and was in at some point. And it was a fairly loud, like either a high caliber or a pretty close gunshot. And people just, every single person, like literally hundreds of people just like turned and looked and stood out in the open on a flat surface with no cover. Yeah, about 2 seconds after I heard the gunshot, I was behind a Dodge Charger's engine compartment. I waved for everybody to get down and join me and kind of yelled to the people around me, hey, get behind a car. Literally, I was the only one diving for cover when I hear gunshots. Like, I guess, okay, there's two things at play. I'm going to summarize what I learned from ASP here. One, normalcy bias. I go places all the time. I've been here before. I walk to the park, I go to the grocery store, and there isn't typically an active shooter. So, since that has never happened, and I've never seen it happen, then my eyes and my ears must be wrong. I must be mistaken. It must not be happening because it's never happened before. Normalcy bias. So you convince yourself that what is going on is not going on. That's why in all these videos on YouTube and LiveLeak and all that, you see people like standing around and not reacting right away and just kind of freezing. It's not because they're panicking. It's because they are telling themselves, well, that must not be what's going on. The loud noise must have been something else, or that must not really be a gun in their hand, or, So don't do that. Don't be that person. And then number two, social pressure, that kind of stuff. I don't know what you'd call it, but if you like dove for cover and then it turns out it wasn't a gun, then you look like an idiot. You just embarrassed yourself in front of hundreds of people and people are going to think you're crazy. And there's a very strong, deep level psychological need for people to feel accepted by the community and not be embarrassed in public or in conversations. I mean, a lot of people just have social anxiety because it's such a strong thing. So everybody, even if they know what's going on, they think, well, I don't want to be the person seen to be overreacting and being dramatic and panicking or whatever. I'm not going to dive behind a car unless everybody else does it. So you mix normalcy bias with social pressure and not wanting to act drastically and, be in line with social norms or whatever. And you get literally everybody but me standing in the parking lot not going for cover. I think 2 people bolted around the corner, so shout out to them. But shortly after the single gunshot, which I assume was the shooter taking a pot shot at the cops or a high-powered rifle from the cops, it sounded very loud, trying to take a shot at them while they were running. So they made it, I guess, back out the parking ramp and right to the edge of the woods because it's surrounded by a wooded area because of Wisconsin. And as they made it to the wooded area, I guess, or right when they were before it or somewhere in there, the cops just lit them up. 30, 40 shots, easy. It all sounded like pistols, too. It sounded like 3 or 4 people shooting and about 12 to 19 rounds, which is a typical double stack pistol capacity for cops. So either it was further away and it was rifle fire, or it was closer and it was pistol fire. Because, I've been to the gun range. I know what different things sound like. So I suspect from what I heard that the person was transported to the hospital alive and then died at the hospital from the gunshots from trying to escape into the woods getting shot. At least that's what I'm piecing together. Just like, I haven't verified that it was an ex-employee, but like literally the staff were saying that. I'm not going to name names or anything in case people were wrong, but yeah, so I mean, it was pretty wild, but I don't think my heart rate even increased. Like, I don't know if it's just, I'm kind of like that. You guys know I'm on the autism spectrum. So, I just don't always react the way you would think to certain situations. Like, I have absolutely zero fear of public speaking whatsoever. I got up in front of a crowd of 5,000 people and just gave a perfect monologue intro to somebody because the other person was like sick or late or whatever. And they're just like, wow, you're a pro at this. I'm like, I don't know. I've never done that before. I just don't care. So yeah, some stressful situations just don't, they don't work on me. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I'm just weird. But I don't know. I've been in some intense situations that did really get my heart racing in the past. You know, just other dangerous situations that are kind of similar. So I'd like to say it's training, it's mental conditioning. It's just the ability to know that you have to switch it off and to know what to do. Because a fear of oh, what do I do is going to make your brain just kind of go to panic mode, and nothing good's going to come from that. And you're going to be stressed out. So, you know, it's kind of like, talk to anybody in the military. They say you're in combat, you don't panic, you focus, and you just revert to your training. Anybody will tell you that, and I would highly recommend any gun owners get to that point. So yeah, anyway, we were outside. Then we, when the security got word that the person was shot outside, or that the suspect made it outside, at least one of them, because, you know, they didn't know how many there were. Then we all went back inside, and then when we were inside, they found out, I assume pretty quickly, that they wanted to sweep the inside and make sure there wasn't a second shooter and secure the scene, and that the suspect outside was down, obviously, and in custody. Then they sent us all back outside, and people were kind of like grumbling, oh, now we're going outside. I'm like, just listen to security, okay? Well, oh no, you have to walk another 200 feet. Oh, what a tedious waste of your time. There's a gunman. There's gunshots going up. Do what security says. Don't question it. And the last thing we need is like 50 people coming up and saying, but why are we doing this? Explain this. Don't be that person. Obey what they're telling you to do if it seems to make sense and is logical in the time, and then ask them about it later when it's an appropriate time, okay? It really didn't help to have the entire time people walking up to all the security going, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? When they, you know, just knew from their training not to immediately disclose what the situation was. It was just a waste of time. It was getting in people's way. It was people standing still, not walking. Do not do that in an emergency situation. So shout out to security for really like being like, where are they? Let's move the people. Let's do this. This is safer. This is no longer safer. Let's change it up. Just call in audibles for like 10 minutes straight. I mean, they really, all of them were very well trained, handled it very well. So did the police. So did everybody else who showed up. Especially the person that went and got bottles of water and donuts at the Quick Trip. Shout out to Quick Trip too, they're awesome. They let a bunch of casino staff and cops just come in and as they, in their own words put it, raid the Quick Trip, get like every donut they had in granola bar, and then just come back and hand them out to the people. So we ended up, eventually, after being outside in the parking lot for a good hour and a half, they moved us all to the bingo hall, I guess. I don't know this premises very well, but I guess it's like the old casino, and then they built a new one attached to a hotel, but they're like, I don't know, 1,000 feet away from each other or something. And they brought all the staff inside to talk to the FBI and the cops and, you know, let them know what happened, get on the same page, tell them how we're going to handle stuff, tell them where people are going. Then the city buses showed up because they were probably just finishing the route, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever. And so they were, you know, busing people at the orders of the police, obviously, and probably the mayor or the DA, who knows. You know, because they got procedures for this. And they started busing people to the nearby school, actually. It's like a, I don't know, elementary school. And that was like the gathering place. People were like, why are we going to a school? Like, when can we leave? When can we get our cars? You know, and that's the time to be asking the questions. We had been out there just bored out of our minds for like 2 hours. At least it was warm out. God, it was like 84 yesterday. It was wild. Even at night after sundown, it was like 70. I think a couple days ago it was snowing, but you know, welcome to Wisconsin. So they're just like, we got to get you somewhere, you know, it's got to get colder. So there's a ton of old people wheelchairs, you know, people with health problems, fat people. There's actually kids there because there was a wedding going on in the hotel. There was a reception there, I guess. They're just like, yeah, we just want to get everybody to one area. They're, you know, they got chairs because everybody's sick of standing up and all that. I was glad to get out of there because I wasn't going to tell this part, but it goes to show, be prepared. Like, I have really severe allergies, like the worst that a human being can have. And it's not completely controlled by medications. I'm allergic to some types of latex, mostly silicones, believe it or not, which is weird. I'm allergic to ibuprofen. I'm allergic to wood dust, animals, plants, living things, dust, air. Just check every box. But even though, like, if I get a tiny little bit of the wrong type of latex anywhere near my mouth, I'll just stop being able to breathe and start throwing up and almost die. That's happened twice to me. Well, welcome to America. I can't afford to carry an EpiPen because it's like $300 every 3 months. Shout out to everybody who works at a pharmaceutical company from the bottom to the top. I hope every one of you drops dead. You really deserve it. So yeah, I had the ghetto version of EpiPen, which is a little screw-on emergency pill holder that I put on my keychain. And well, we didn't have any water, we didn't have anything, we didn't have jackets. We were just outside with whatever was in our pockets. I found one dude who must have gotten to his car, big old fat guy, munching on some lunch meat, and I was like, oh, that's a cooler at his feet. That's interesting. I was like, hey, dude, I was standing on the lawn. I should probably explain this. And my allergies were getting really bad. I don't usually have asthma, but the temperature and the insane winds and then the super dry conditions, there was a lot of, I don't know, grass pollen or something kicking up. Could be mold from last fall. Who knows? The snow just melted. But like, I was starting to be able to breathe at like half capacity. I'm like, okay, so I went and stood as far off the grass as I could, but it was getting worse and worse and worse. And I knew my 24-hour allergy medication was already going to wear off because it certainly isn't 24-hour. So he was basically the only person in the entire crowd in the entire area with exactly one bottle of water. And I just kind of asked him nicely. I'm like, dude, I got to take some pills. I'm not feeling good. And I don't want to go bother the paramedics or it'll turn into a whole thing. And then if the casino doesn't want to pay for it, then I've got thousands of dollars in medical bills when I could just take some Benadryl and hope I don't die, which is like, 25 cents by comparison. So he kind of hesitated. He's like, okay, what am I going to say? No, so he gives it to me. I'm like, okay, thanks, I mean, we all knew it had been like long enough that they were going to show up with water and hand it out at some point. At least somebody go back and get some from the bar or something, But yeah, I waited a minute, took my pills, whatever. Had to crush one of them because it was stuck. Had to jam a pen in there and then got to taste what Benadryl powder tastes like. Yummy. But yeah, I did make it better. So, I mean, just be prepared. Have what you need on you at all times. If it's really important, keep it on you. Just saying. Same with like, battery packs. If you want to carry that around in your pockets to charge your phone just in case. A lot of people stuck out there with dead phones. I ended up borrowing my phone to like 3 or 4 people. And it was only older people because they knew their friends' numbers by heart. All the younger people are like, oh, I don't know their number though because I just hit their name. Yeah, I make a habit of my friends and family dialing their number manually on my cell phone every time I call them. It's worth taking the couple seconds to memorize it, guys. Also, I'd never let my phone battery get below 50%. It's just like, the old prepper saying. By the way, go check out my prepper channel, emergency survival tips. Just a little shout out, a little self-promotion. Just in case there's a natural emergency or, big widespread whatever, a big weather thing, an earthquake, a wildfire. Always keep your gas tank in your car at half or higher. When it gets to half, pretend it's empty, fill it up. Always keep your cell phone at half. Never leave the house if it's like 40%. Just be like, oh, it'll be fine. I probably won't have to use it. A lot of panicking people later with no phones asking around if anybody had a phone. And then the younger folks didn't know who to dial or what the number was. So, and their phone was like dead, like off dead. So they couldn't look it up. So their family's probably wondering, oh, I wonder if they're okay. And they couldn't get in contact with them because they didn't know their number and didn't charge their phone properly. So fun little tips to keep you safe. More available on EST. So anyway, I ended up at the school and then I was banking on the ramp being reopened. They only reopened the bottom parking lot and then the hotel itself. So then they started busing people back who were staying at the hotel because they said, we'll let you go to your room now. We cleared the entire building. There's no other threat. So come on back. That was really early, fairly late, around, I think 11:30, 11 o'clock, something like that. At night, they said, okay, anybody with an outside car, outside the ramp, you can now go back on the bus and leave. And then anybody else, they started booking, like we were just on our own and remember, there's a lot of old people hanging out at the casinos. Everybody was on their own for booking like a hotel emergency at the last second, knowing who to call. There's no phone books. Old people have like never used hotels.com in their life or don't even have a smartphone. And like the firefighters and the other people, volunteers, they were trying to like, work something out or call people for them or whatever. And, it's just waiting in line, bunch of people, whole thing. So I was in touch with my family as it was going on and stuff, and then I told them, oh, go to bed. I'll just wait it out. I don't want to drive all the way home and then all the way back tomorrow because it's a long way. I'll just wait till they, release all the cars in the ramp. Can't be more than an hour or two. Turns out they come through at like 1 a.m. and announce, oh no, they're going to be, at least until like tomorrow. Like not even necessarily in the morning. They're not going to release the ramp because the FBI just showed up. They want to, I don't know, take more pictures or whatever. As if it wasn't all on security camera, but okay, whatever. So then I'm like, okay, well now I'm stuck. And a lot of people were like, yeah, we're from out of town. We weren't staying at the hotel and now we can't get our car. How are we going to get home? 1, 2, 3 hours away. And the police and the volunteers at the school were like, I don't know, try to work something out, get a hotel, then send Oneida the bill basically. Well, let's just say they're getting the bill for my Uber ride. I've only ever driven for Uber. I've never actually used the Uber app to go anywhere because I'm poor. Poor people walk or they get on a bike. Okay, Uber is for rich people. But anyway, I was like, well, I could try and wake up the people that I all just told to go to sleep and not worry about it until tomorrow, and then have them groggily drive that distance in the dark after being asleep for like an hour or two, no, we'd probably crash and die. So I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to take an Uber. I'm going to try and get reimbursed. And you're damn right I am. Right after I finish recording this, they're getting the email with the receipt. But yeah, had to take a very expensive Uber back home. And then some people were kind of going the same direction. I was two nice old ladies who like didn't have smartphones. And they were also stranded, didn't know how to get all the way back to actually even further away than I was. But yeah, we dropped them off. It ended up like close to doubling the cost of the Uber, but they were really nice. And I actually won a bit of money today, so hey. And they kept saying, oh, we could like write you a check or give us your mailing address. I'm like, okay, so in other words, you don't have any cash, but I'm like, don't worry about it. Because I mean, they don't care how many people are in the Uber. It's still the same price for the route. So yeah, shout out to my awesome Uber driver for not canceling. Well, okay, the first one canceled. The second one got the warning that it was, over a certain distance trip, and he still approved it because he's awesome. Also, we both used to work for FedEx, it turns out. Oh, and Uber. We thought that was funny. We both shared 2 driving jobs. Anyway, yeah, so I mean, that's what went down. Wished it could have been stopped sooner. That's really the big takeaway. Anybody who would, illegally acquire a gun or take a legally owned one and decide, oh, I'm going to go shoot everybody, you're a piece of human garbage. And, taking away guns from people trying to defend themselves from these idiots is not great. Politicians, that doesn't solve anything. There's more gun crime in Chicago, New York than anywhere else, and they have the strictest gun laws. People just give up. They can't carry their own guns. So, of course people are going to pull a gun because they know you don't have one. In Wisconsin, you rob a place, you'll probably get shot in the back by somebody coming out of the restroom. The gun ownership up here is pretty high. I mean, it ain't Texas, but the recently legalized concealed carry permits were very popular when they came out 6 years ago. I don't know if I mentioned this take, but I've had to pull a gun on 5 separate people, and every single one of those scenarios ended with no violence and it being stopped, nobody hurt. You never hear about that statistic, how many people pulled out a gun, stopped a situation, kept themselves safe without ever having to fire it, and that was the end of it. Well, you'd be hard-pressed to find that statistic because in all 5 cases, I didn't call the cops. There's no record of it. But yeah, guns, they stop violence. They stop attacks. They are the solution, and the solution isn't always to fire it. And when it is, I mean, you can end a mass shooting in seconds instead of waiting minutes for the police to show up. If the solution at your business, where you're frequenting, where you're shopping, where you work, if their strategy is, I don't know, run, challenge it or work somewhere else. Your safety is more important than some ignorant, clueless, gun-phobic moron putting up signs to make themselves feel special and deluding themselves that that'll do anything to stop violent crime or anybody walking in with a gun. Well, that's not how the media is spinning this one. Oh boy, they're going to just wait to see what video games he played and what color his skin was and then use it to further their narrative. Wonderful. I'm glad you're such a useless, lying mouthpiece for the Democratic Party. F*** all y'all clueless, entitled millennials and liberals and other dumbasses ruining society. Why don't you go get a fair trade soy latte and let the adults handle making the laws for society because you're clearly mentally a child. Don't talk about things you don't know about. And ignorant, rich, white, dumb liberal Democrats don't know about guns. Oh, and if you don't believe me and you're like, well, that is an opinion, I see why you have it about guns, but this, that, the other thing, counter evidence, blah, 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 useless propaganda nonsense. Because they put up those signs that said no guns allowed, anybody who they do let in with a gun and endangers someone who could have stopped the situation with a gun, they're liable for any injury or death. And I don't just mean like they could go to court and seek it and maybe win. You don't even go to court. You just settle that because you're going to lose because you're in the wrong. If you put up a sign that basically says, we are responsible for your safety after we forced you to disarm yourself and then you get injured by somebody breaking the rules and, something that could have been stopped and solved by a gun, any resulting injury or death is 100% on you. You are 100% liable. So Radisson and Oneida are going to have to pay out on anybody who got injured, anybody who provably needed therapy after this, whatever. And so it's going to cost them millions. If their insurance company, like their liability insurance, if they even have it, if they're good enough, they'll pay the whole thing, but then they're going to double the rate and get their money back. So yeah, maybe you should have just let everybody be free and protect themselves the way they wish. No, CNN told me guns are scary. Well, we all know there's no shortage of stupid people in the world. So yeah, I mean, glad I'm okay. It was a hell of a night. Got home super late. Cost me quite a bit of money, but whatever. Hopefully I get reimbursed. And if this kind of craziness can happen to me, it could happen to you. Be prepared for it. Be prepared for everything. Like I was saying in my other channel, sometimes a tornado comes through. Sometimes a flood happens. Sometimes there's a winter storm or a heat wave. It's just, things happen. Trees fall onto houses in the middle of the night. I mean, it's just, you never know what's going to happen to you. So you should always have training, a backup plan, and what you need on you are accessible. Crimes happen, shootings happen, weather events happen, people who are just like, oh, I've gone thousands of days with nothing like that happening. Yeah, you're the ones who aren't prepared and are panicking and freezing up and acting like an idiot in extreme circumstances of any kind. So, be wise, take it seriously, train up, be prepared to defend yourself, and work on not panicking, freezing up, or denying what's happening right in front of you, and you'll be safer because of it. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully we can get back from crazy, tragic crimes to magic content in the near future here, but I'm kind of taking the day off. But hey, I'll see you guys next video.